Mr. Clay Clark here. He's an award-winning entrepreneur who had to overcome poverty to achieve tremendous business success. He started his first successful business while still a freshman at Oral Roberts University, and by age 20 he received national attention when he received the Metro Chamber of Commerce Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award, and for his innovative best practice customer service and his numerous business ventures. At the age of 27, he was able to add the U.S. Small Business Administration Entrepreneur of the Year and the U.S. Chamber National Blue Ribbon Quality Award to his resume. Today, Clay is the owner of 9 different companies and travels the country working as an engaging sales trainer, a business coach, and a nationally recognized educator for organizations both big and small. Today, speaking to us about outstanding customer service, please welcome Clay Clark.
Customer Service 101, the art of providing outstanding customer service. Who here by a show of hands knows who this guy is? Who here by a round of applause knows who this guy is? Bob Ross, he draws happy trees, okay? And sometimes you watch Bob Ross and you're like, I'm not really sure what he's doing or how this works, but then he always ends up making this great painting. Have you ever sat down and watched the guy before and you're like, what is he doing? And then it just kind of works out. Well, I kind of liken that to also the old Nintendo. Who here had a Nintendo back in the day? Who here has no idea about this Nintendo? Who's never seen? Everybody here seen one? This is good. I'm not that old. Okay. Well, with the Nintendo, you remember when we all blew on the game to make it work? Nobody sent it to us though in the owner's manual. We never got it. It never came in the box. It didn't say if this game stops working, if the game freezes up, just take it out and blow on it, and it's going to work. But yet, millions of Americans all discovered that it worked, right? So some of the things I'm going to teach you are kind of like blowing on the game. We're not quite sure why they work, but they do. And the second commitment I make is we're going to have a little bit of a dance party tonight, kind of a karaoke thing. I don't think it's a dance party, it's kind of a karaoke casino night. But I want to make sure everybody has at least one courtesy dance move. So we can all stand to our feet real quick. I'm going to teach you the Cupid Shuffle. Here we go. Clap. Come on, clap. Come on, clap. Hey, clap. Here we go. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right. Here we go. To the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. Here we go. Now kick it with the right foot. Kick it with the right foot. Kick it with the right foot. Go. Walk it up. Deep thoughts. What is customer service? This is kind of an interactive format. So, what is customer service? Anybody here want to volunteer? Yes, Bueller. Bueller. Anybody else? Yes, you can.
Going above and beyond.
Going above and beyond. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else have any thoughts on what is customer service? Okay. Well, as far as customer service, when I say customer service, I want you to think about an organization that is awesome with customer service. Go ahead and picture in your mind. It could be a team, an organization. I would argue it's something that you're passionate about, right? Because you like the way they treat you so much. Think about one example. Everybody got one? Okay. Go ahead and volunteer. What's an example of a great you in the blue?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Who loves Chick-fil-A? Okay. What's another example? You said. Apple? Yeah. How many of you kept the box? Come on, how many of you kept the box? Why are we keeping it? I don't know, we just keep the box. What's that all about, right? I mean, it's a part. Because the big concept about customer service is we are acting the part of a character who's excited all the time. So real talk, I have 5 kids. Who here has 2 kids or more? 2 kids or more? You know what I'm talking about. You get a text message and it's like, Holmes just threw up. Well, if you're not careful, you're going to bring that to the next interaction with the customer, right? You're like, my 5-year-old threw up. They say, how are you? And you're like, my 5-year-old threw up. Well, that's not very inspiring. That doesn't make me want to come back and visit you, right? You got to act the part. You got to make sure you're in that role at all times. You guys can kind of write these down because they're semi-disturbing here, okay? 1, according to American Express, they survey all the companies that provide Amex services. 60% of Americans believe that businesses don't care about good customer service. Anybody agree with that? Anybody agree with that? 60%? Okay. 75% of people said they would hang up after waiting on hold for longer than 5 minutes. 75. Who here does that? You hang up? Right? Okay. And what we're going to do today is we're going to go into the 6 steps. And these are 6 steps you can all put in place that will radically improve your customer service experience if you do take them to heart. Step number 1 is start asking the tough questions. Those of you who said Apple, this is a good one for you. Do we treat customers like the DMV, or do we treat them like Apple? And this is you specifically, so I'm asking you to think about yourself here, okay? Do you specifically treat people like Apple, or do you treat them like the DMV? I want you to think about that for a second. Do they seem somewhat enthusiastic about the product? Do you ever get the impression that people who work at the Apple store are secretly buying like PCs? Come on. The next point here is commit to excellence. People talk about Chick-fil-A all the time. How many of you know people who are, or how many of you are really into Chick-fil-A? Like it's a big thing for you. Yeah. There was a group of, how about this? There's a case study I read here. They're talking about companies where people are willing to get a tattoo of the company's name. And I mean, you think about it, I know we're a skincare company. Maybe there's an irony there. I don't know. But think about it for a second. I mean, Harley, people are getting the tattoo on their arm of the motorcycle. But if you go into Harley, what is it about the Harley experience that's so great? What is it about it? I mean, with your customer service, you have to commit to excellence. Because when you do something good and you satisfy the customer, don't you feel better as a person? Have you ever wowed a customer and it made you feel good? Okay, now here's one of the things I'm going to throw out for you. Customer service is kind of like a boomerang. Okay, so if I'm throwing a boomerang to you and I throw it out there to you, there's a high probability it's going to come back if we do it right. But if I just sit there and wait for the boomerang to arrive and I'm just sitting on the ground next to me, it's not going to arrive at me. Okay, so I'm encouraging you is when a customer walks in, are they on point? Are they acting at that point? Does the customer feel like they're in a show like at Disney? No, they're not being paid to be there, right? They're paying you. So when they show up, how many people have seen a customer with a grumpy face this week? Come on, how many of you have seen one of those guys, right? He walks in, right? So you have to throw out that boomerang of positivity before it comes back. Does that make sense? You have to do that. I would just encourage you, start with a joke, start with a smile, do something, but make sure you don't wait for them to bring that to you. Here's an example, though, of great customer service and bad customer service. My wife and I, if you guys get a chance to look them up online, there's a gas station called Quick Trip. And Quick Trip feels kind of Starbucks-esque in the way they handle you. Every person that walks in, they say hi to you, and they have a mystery shopper that comes in once per shift. And literally 1/3 of people's paycheck is based on customer service feedback. So every day, somebody goes in, and you don't know who they are, okay? And the bathrooms are like pristine clean. And the other ones, Shell, and this literally happens. My wife and I are driving our cars on E, and I'm like, baby, we need to pull over. We're trying to time the bathroom and the gas at the same time. How many of you do that? You try to time the bathroom break and the gas stop. So we pull in, and my wife's like, I don't care if you have to push the car, honey, but I'm not getting out in that place. Right? And what happens is you're worried about, am I going to get a disease if I go in here? What's going on? We must be willing to truly take ownership of the praise and the complaints. How many of you know what I'm talking about? You're working with an employee and you're a coworker, right? And whenever the praise comes in, they're all about it. Right? When the praise comes in, they're like, oh yeah, that's me, okay, right? But when the complaints come in, they're like, as Bill Gates says, your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. For the complaining emails that did come in, if we turn those into opportunities to improve, how much better would we get every year? Does anybody here like customer complaints? You're like, oh baby, this is my favorite part of the day. Yes! Anybody? Okay. Well, customer complaints based on a lack of hands either way. I know everyone is present, but I'll tell you, with customer complaints, most people really get worked up about this, and so I'm going to teach you a Jedi trick to you, okay? So step number one, it's called the blast system. Step number one is believe, okay? So if you're writing these down, step number one is believe. So whenever somebody complains, or whenever someone complains, you have to make it seem as though you sincerely calm themselves down. And you answer it with like a soft tone. Softer than you're comfortable with. Okay? I'm being serious. We have to do this, right? So you have to calm down. So it appears as though, and then you have to just talk calmly, because when you do that, the person almost feels guilty for yelling at you. Some of you manipulators in here use this trick all the time. In our office, we teach the guys, when they listen, to always suck in their air and go, oh, I'm sorry. Try it. Everybody try it. 1, 2, 3. And it works. It's like when, someone gets mad or something. We call this trick the wounded dog. But what happens is people feel as though they kicked an innocent little puppy. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh. Yeah, and trust me, try it next time in the office. It works. It's Jedi power. Someone's yelling at you, you're like, oh, I totally believe it, And they're like, no, it's not you. It's not you. You're in physical pain. Like you got kicked somewhere. But I understand that you guys have food for people in the waiting area. Is that true? See, this is awesome. Guys, I work with doctors all the time, and these homeboys had somebody decorate their office in 1984, and then they feel like that was good then, so it's good now. And they have a lady who works at the front desk, and she's like, hello? And they've got People magazines from '84 too, laid out. Right? And then they look at you and you say, you've been there for 15 minutes. Who's been there for 15 minutes or more? You've been to a doctor for 15 minutes or more, you're waiting. Who's waited for more than 15 minutes? You know what I'm talking about? Then they're like, and they keep looking at you, they kind of duck below the desk. Oh crap, someone's here. Right? And they try to avoid you. Have you seen this phenomenon? Lady, there's me, a dude, and you, and this crappy old coffee that's black because it's been recooked 3 times. I know, you see me, lady. Right? Then, when she finally does talk, she says something that doesn't let you know that she believes you, listens to you, answers, satisfied. She just says, he'll be with you shortly. Goes back to reading. That's not a good situation. You guys have food. This is awesome. Americans will do crazy things for food. You put free food, people show up. Or, hey, I appreciate that. Okay? And the way you put the little cherry on top of trust is to tell the customer, I appreciate you for letting me know. So when they're frustrated, at the end of it, when you can be like, and you can go to, we don't. We say, I appreciate you for letting me know. Does that make sense? It changes the whole game when you appreciate people for letting you know. I mean, the whole idea, right, was that he didn't fight back, right? Or if Gandhi would have been like, I know this passive resistance thing's been going pretty well, but let's use bazookas. Right? I mean, he would have gone from like an empowering, inspirational figure, Gandhi, to like a terrorist, right? You see what I'm saying? So the same situation, but a different reaction. So I'm encouraging you to go with the Gandhi, the Jesus method. Don't fight with fight. Don't fight back with people. Okay? Don't fight back with people. It'll make your life a lot better. Southwest Airlines, though, they have a flight attendant that actually raps. Have you seen this guy online? He was featured on ABC on 2020. He's a flight attendant who raps everything he says the entire flight. And he does it because he wants to make it a fun environment. He's always trying to change the way he delivers it. And Southwest lets it happen because he gets such a great response. But he has all the passengers start clapping and stomping to the beat, and he raps with them. You guys can find it on YouTube. It's crazy stuff. But there's other ladies who sing, other ladies that tell jokes. But I would encourage you, in the monotony that could become your day, what are we doing to make it fun? Does anybody here have something fun you try to do every day on the phone? Anybody here want to share a fun tip or when you're face-to-face? You know, are you actually going to respond and do these things, or are we going to just continue? Because we have to change the way we've been doing things to get a different result. And I know the stats that were shared with you guys earlier. How many people, when someone's mad, how many people do they tell? A lot. You know, Harvard case studies are showing between 7 and 12 people when they're mad. It's crazy. And then when you're happy, how many people do you tell? Most people only tell 2 or 3. Why does that happen? I don't know. It's for negative people, I guess, okay? So here's the thing I'm going to leave you with today, is according to USA Today, only 7% of conference attendees actually take action. Look around the room, going like, you know, out of 60 people or 70 people, there's probably only 1 or 2 statistically that would take action. But you guys are different people. Those are other people. Those are weird people. Not you people. All right? So the thing is, I want to encourage you guys to commit to taking action and to implementing these team building exercises. Implement these things you've heard today. Implement them so that you can transform your workplace. Right? Your intelligence quotient, it's your intelligence relative to your age. So you take a test, you know, and they're like, you have a high IQ, right? But the older you get, if you don't get more knowledgeable, then your IQ would, in theory, go down. But he talks about 2 other kinds of Qs. EQ. And I want you guys to write that down. It's EQ. It's your emotional quotient. And what Einstein found is that when researching the world's most successful people, the people with a high EQ, the ability to rebound quickly emotionally, are the most successful. So here's an example for you. Henry Ford went bankrupt how many times? 5 times. Walt Disney went bankrupt how many times? 2 times. Wait a second. 2 times? So you mean Walt Disney, the inventor of the mouse? Yeah, so what if he emotionally rebounded slowly like some of us do, where he talks about something bad that happened for 10 years? 10 years ago I went bankrupt and so I don't grow mouses anymore. No, he rebounded quickly and started again. Does that make sense? Donald Trump almost lost it all and then came back, right? So the news is super worried about Oprah's network, and Oprah's like, we'll bounce back. Because this is a woman who was raped as a child, right? And it was the first black person on television. And then when she was on television, they wouldn't give her any decent placement, and then she overcame that. So she's not worried about ratings, right? She has a high EQ, right? And then the final Q that Einstein reminds us to think about is a thing called the AQ. And this is my final point today, your AQ. It's your attitudinal quotient. It's your attitude quotient. How quickly can you readjust your attitude when you face a major setback? Have you seen this before, though? Have you seen a customer just come in and kill the aura in the office? Have you seen this? They just scream like, ah, and they leave, and we're all like, whoa. And then no one talks for about 15 minutes, right? We're just, has that happened though? You all look around the room and you're like, oh man. But what we're talking about is how quickly, and I would encourage you, this is some stuff that Einstein wrote, and I'm just going to give it to you. He talks about the world's most successful people can emotionally recover from a traumatic situation within a period of hours, not days or years. Hours. And attitudinally get back within hours, within minutes. So I would encourage you, when a customer freaks out at you, make it your little game. How quickly can I rebound? Because you can't change them. You can't change what happens to you. You can just change how you respond to it. Does that make sense? All right. So homework today, we're all going to take the pledge. Everybody put your hand up. All right. Everybody repeat after me. Say, I will take some action at the office and with the karaoke.